represent those early types from the Great War. Leading the formation, 3 SE-5A master fighter aircraft, one of the best British designs of the Great War. The oldest aircraft, 1914 BE-2 Sea observation biplane, the very first type to cross to France a century ago. Next month, that aircraft will recreate the flight, recrossing the Channel 100 years later. But the aeroplane you want to see is not the first triplane, that's a Sopwith triplane, or the Junkers trench strafing aircraft. It's the aircraft at the back, flown by Bruce, the Fokker WW1 triplane. And what you're set to see now is what, if you've been sat in the trenches back in the early years of the Great War, a classic World War I dogfight as the reconnaissance aircraft, the largest of the aircraft, the second one flying around now in the display, tries to do its reconnaissance work, and the enemy forces try to prevent it getting back with the information. Different types and different designs of aircraft as aircraft evolution was in its infancy. You've got the monoplane aircraft, the German Junkers used to strafing the trenches. You've got the biplane fighters, and you've got the 2 triplane types designed to have the best turning ability and the best rate of climb. And heading towards us now, starting to turn onto the tail of one of the SE-5 fighters, is Bruce in the Fokker triplane.
I should have said that. Sweet dog, bro. The poor old BE-2 being chased by the Junkers there was designed for observation. It was designed to be stable. It was not, however, manoeuvrable. And the fighter aircraft were invented to create the agility to take part in the classic dogfight. Homing in on the tail of the BE-2, which now leaves smoke as one of the Junkers has it firmly in its sights. Meanwhile, higher up in the sky, Bruce in the Fokker triplane is trying to get onto the tail of one of the SE-5s, and he's having to turn now because another SE-5 was threatening to get on his tail. Now you've got the classic turning dogfight. Bruce is staying high. Remember the Hun in the sun? Now keep an eye on that triplane, the highest of the aircraft at the moment, as he looks out for a target and starts to dive in for the attack. The Fokker triplane, famed of course for the mount of Baron von Richthofen. Now Bruce is diving in. Has he got one of the SE-5s in his sights? More to the point, one of the SE-5s, in fact the Sopwith triplane, now has the Fokker in its sights. Bruce is going to have to go on the defensive. Meanwhile, Bruce has now got the BE-2 observation aircraft, the Sopwith triplane and one of the SE-5s, all as potential targets. He's closing in on the tail of the Sopwith. And you'll hear the sound of those very powerful engines in both the Sopwith and the Fokker triplanes that give them their speed and their agility. And Bruce is in absolutely the perfect target position. A bit more smoke from one of the Junkers trench strafers. In fact, both the two Junkers aircraft leaving smoke. They're in trouble, both with an SE-5A fighter on their tails. But the Junkers has a rear gunner. And in fact, one of them, if anyone's got a good pair of binoculars, is Eddie. And again, we've got the two triplanes battling in the classic dogfight scenario. Bruce turning hard to try get on the Sopwith's tail.
I think I prefer a Top Gun. I think I prefer a Top Gun. Speaking of which, so earlier when we were looking for you, I was like, look out for every topless prick. Because I know you love getting topless.
I got topless last night.
Jumping in 30 ponds.
Yeah, I took this on.
The Fokker triplane was actually a copy of the layout of the British Sopwith design, but was made in a more advanced manner and actually was one of the top German aircraft of the Great War. Meanwhile, the SC-5, one of them goes down low, leaving smoke. Bruce again, circling on the tail of the Sopwith triplane.
Alright, what did she say?
She said she wasn't impressed.
Why not? Because it was boring. If I had done it, well, the whole problem was fucking boring.
Looks like Bruce has got a hit.
Fuck this, I'm going to get a spot for Slayer. It's a brilliant idea. I'm game to go. Yeah. James, you're on your own, son. Okay, you come find us. We'll be at the rail.
So a true sight and sound. Battles in the air above the trenches of the Western Front during the Great War. And again, Bruce turning hard, trying to get his gun sight onto the tail of the Sopwith. Now has a Junkers covering his tail, and the SE-5 is trying to manoeuvre to avoid Eddie in the gunner's seat. These aircraft from the Great War display team, all replica airframes, all flown by pilots from different roles in life, everything from ex-jet fighter pilots to airline captains, all with a passion for First World War aviation, as indeed has Bruce. And once again now, the aircraft running in, with Bruce on the tail of the Sopwith, the BE trying to keep pace, but that slower, less agile observation biplane. And a true sky full of aeroplanes, the average age of which is coming close to 100 years old. And Bruce again on the tail of the Sopwith and the wing wave as the Great War team are making their final fly past.
I think the toilet's over there. Stop.
Well, it seems that the team and Bruce are enjoying themselves so much, there's a little bit more. Thank you too to the band and mules of the rifles, and to the pilots of the Great War team, who are giving us a first-hand memorial to the pilots who went to war nearly a century ago.
That's what I'm thinking.